As far as technique goes, chipping is probably the second easiest thing right behind putting to master. I mean, there's not a whole lot to the technique. All you're doing is you're trying to create a slightly descending blow and make some solid contact. Little weight in your left foot, hands a little forward, brush the grass, and you've got the technique more or less mastered with a little practice. So, how are you going to get good at getting the ball close to the hole so that you can have more up and downs? Well, a lot of people figure, I'm going to go practice, and I'm going to play a lot of golf. And I'm going to probably do that practicing and all that chipping on the golf course with one club. I did it too, and Phil Mickelson did it too. But his teacher convinced him otherwise, and that's what I'm going to try to do with you. I'm going to show you how, if you use multiple clubs, you're going to be able to have more flexibility in your chipping, and you're going to get a lot more of them up and down. When I first started playing, my favorite chipping club was an Arnold Palmer pitching wedge, and I would play it basically from everywhere around the green. Now, one of the first things you'll learn about the short game in general, if you take some lessons or read a good book or watch the tour players, is they're always trying to make the shot, which in this case is a, 25, 20 feet chip shot, trying to make that shot as small as possible by getting the ball on the green as soon as possible. And it's often be called in golf instruction and books and videos, safety spot or safety landing zone. I like about a yard on the green. I'm about a yard off the green right here. If I went one more yard and I go ahead and take out a tee and put that just off line so it's not going to prevent me from hitting my shot toward the hole, that's a good, safe spot for me to land this shot on line with the pin and have it run out. So, okay, great. I'll read that in the magazine, and I decide that's the thing I want to do, and I take my favorite little pitching wedge, and I go ahead and try to do that. If I land the ball anywhere near that tee with that pitching wedge, that ball is not going to get anywhere near the pin. Not going to run out far enough. What most golfers think is I hit the ball too easy, but they didn't, because what they're trying to do is actually hit the ball to a spot, and they did that very well. The trick is to do the math. Which club will you use if you've got these two, parts of the equation, set in stone? The ball isn't going to move. Your landing spot, can move, but we're determined that's probably your safest, closest spot. Pitching wedge doesn't go far enough. Let's try some other clubs in the bag and see how far they go. Just to start, let's take out an 8-iron, 2 less clubs and loft, and land this ball right here. Little brush technique, same exact technique. And you can see how the ball rolls further, about twice as much further, but still doesn't run far enough to the hole. Which club am I going to need to get it all the way to the hole? Well, pitching wedge went there, 8 went there, so seems to me maybe a 6 might work. So I've got my spot. And one thing you want to do with your spot, you'll see all the good players do this on TV. When you have your spot, make your practice swings away from your ball, looking at your spot. How hard do you make this little downward brushing technique? How hard do you do that so that your ball flies to there? Don't try to lift your ball up to that spot. Once you've got a feel for how far a swing that is and how far that spot is, how much energy you need, then you can just look at your spot, make your swing, and watch the ball run out. In this case, it hit a couple things along the way, but I've got a 2-footer, and I'm probably going to get up and down and go to the next hole very happy. So, great, Brian. If I get to try all of my clubs every time I'm chipping around the green, I can figure out which one I can play this safe landing and have it run out. Well, there's actually an easier way. There's a ratio that was developed long ago, made popular by Paul Runyon, who was the wizard of the short game for many, many years, and a great teacher and player in his own right. And he called it the Rule of 11. Well, it's changed a little bit for modern times here. It's now the Rule of 12 because manufacturers, due to popular demand, have made their golf clubs a little stronger lofted. And the Rule of 11 and the Rule of 12 basically worked on a simple principle. When you're hitting a shot, okay, what shot it is, a tee shot, but in this case we're hitting a chip shot, the ball flies to one spot and then the ball runs out to another. I always say it's 1 part carry unless you hit a cart path, and then it'll be at least 1 more part carry depending on how many times it hits on the cart path. So what we have right here is my 1 part carry is 2 yards. That 1 yard to get to the fringe and 1 more yard to get to the tee. So I have 2 yards is 1 part carry. So 2 more yards, 1, 2, is 1 part roll. And on and on and on. So as I stand here or back up from my, from my area so I get a little different view, I can say I've got 1 part carry, 1 part roll to where I was standing, 1 part carry, 2 parts roll, 1 part carry, 3 parts roll, 4 parts roll, and then at some point, maybe about 6 parts roll for this 6-iron. You see, that's the trick. You take the parts roll and you subtract that number from 12, that's why it's the rule of 12, and the number you'll be left with is the club to pick. So in this case, it's a 6-iron. It's 1 part carry, 6 parts roll. I get here, I make my practice swings, I hit my shot, and I've got a 1-footer. Now, Brian, that's great. What if, though, I'm either closer to my spot or, often cases, further away from my spot? Now that 6-iron that was perfect for this shot, from where I was right here 2 yards away, if I fly it, making my practice swings, looking at my spot, if I fly it up to that tee, that ball is going to just, lucky it hit the pin, run way over the green into a bunker, some other trouble. So because I've changed this first part, I have 1, 2 to get back to the ball, 3, 4 to get to my spot. 1 part carry is now 4 yards, so that roll is going to be proportional. 1 part roll, 1, 2, 3, 4 yards, 2 parts roll. So this shot right here is somewhere between 2 and 3 parts roll. So let's just say I want to be aggressive and give myself a chance at getting it to the pin. 3 parts roll, 3 minus 12 is 9. I take out my 9-iron here, look at my spot, make my practice brushes, and then try to land it on line with the pin, even with my spot. And amazingly, we said we wanted to be a little aggressive. The ball ran out about 4 feet past the hole, giving me a really makeable shot. And I wanted to be aggressive. Maybe I wanted to give myself a chance at, getting the ball at least to the hole. You'll find that it doesn't take you long to start seeing all your shots around the green this way, whether it's a chip shot or any other kind of pitch. And I promise you, just like Phil Mickelson, will find out no matter how good you are with that favorite club, if you can just do the math, find your safe spot, pick your club, make your practice swings at your spot, and execute your technique, you're going to have a world-class short game because you're going to be able to chip it close and get up and down from almost anywhere.
Practice with multiple clubs for chipping precision and accuracy. Use the rule of 12 to determine best club for chipping around the green.